Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, we're going to do another episode of Bites and Nibbles with Breck today. You may recall that a couple weeks ago I tried to do the world's best cornbread in an Instant Pot and got less than ideal results. Now, I have to believe that they wouldn't call it the world's best cornbread if it wasn't the world's best cornbread. So my opinion is the way it turned out, it was the world's worst cornbread. So I want to give it another shot today, and there's a couple things I'm going to do differently, and we're going to see if we get better results. Let me show you what those are. First of all, the recipe didn't specifically say what size of a pan to put it in, and I chose to do it in this pan. And the truth is, the material, the batter itself only reached up about a half an inch in the pan, and so I just think maybe the pan was too big for the recipe I was cooking, and that might have been a factor in it. So this time I'm going to actually double the recipe, so we'll get a little bit thicker piece of cornbread. But you'll also remember that during the video I was pondering back when I had done the banana bread in the Instant Pot, and I'd always been concerned about breads in the Instant Pot because of the steam and how that might change the moisture level in anything, any kind of a bread product I made. And when I did the banana bread, I coated the top with aluminum foil to keep the steam out. And I questioned whether I should be doing that in this recipe too, but I decided to follow the recipe to the letter. And I honestly think that that was probably the biggest factor in all of this. So we're definitely going to cover it up with aluminum foil, and I think we'll get a better result. The third thing I noticed was that the baking powder that I had used before had expired. Now, it had just barely expired. It expired like a month or two ago. And honestly, I don't know what happens when baking powder expires. Does it become, does it have less of an effect on the products that you prepare with it? Or is it something else going on? So I've also elected to buy a new can of baking powder. So we're going to double the recipe. We're going to cover the pan with aluminum foil during the cooking, and we got fresh baking powder. So let's put this thing together. Once again, here are our ingredients. We have some cornmeal, some granulated sugar, a little salt, our baking powder, of course, some butter, some heavy whipping cream, and some eggs. Now, one of the things I noticed when I prepared this last time is that the recipe is actually exceedingly simple. Basically, you combine the wet ingredients, you combine the dry ingredients, and you put it in a mixer and mix the two together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of prepare everything, and then I'll show you it all kind of going together. Alright, so I've combined all of my dry ingredients. As I said before, I'm doubling the recipe. So the quantities here are 2.5 cups of cornmeal, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of the baking soda, or the baking powder. And so I've just got that in there, got it all nice and mixed together. And I've got all my liquid ingredients here also mixed together. That's 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, 4 eggs, and 1 stick of butter that's been melted. And I've kind of combined that all together. And now I just got to mix the two things together. And we're just going to let that mix for a few minutes until it all kind of gets blended in real well, and we'll go from there. And while the mixing is happening of all the ingredients, I've applied a little cooking spray to my pan. That just makes it not stick, and obviously that's a good thing, right? Alright, we've got the whole mixture into the pan right now. I think it's going to be a little bit thicker this time. We'll probably get an inch or inch and a half thick, which is going to definitely be an improvement over what happened last time. Next thing I got to do is I'm going to put some aluminum foil on it so that it stays dry inside. I think that's the main thing that fell apart last time. So, this is the last chance for the world's greatest cornbread to live up to its name. Let's see what happens. Alright, I think we got that nice and good and nice and secure along the rims there. Just want to kind of make sure we're kind of form-fitting around the edge there so we have as good of a seal as we can. That's sort of what I did with the pumpkin bread before, or with the banana bread before. and hopefully this will work better. So we're going to put this in the Instant Pot. We're going to cook it at high pressure for 30 minutes, and then we're going to do a quick release at the end. So let's get going on that. Alright, so that's the thing in the Instant Pot. Before I put the springform pan in there, I put the little metal trivet. That's basically just a little platform that lifts this off of the bottom of the pot so that it isn't sitting in the water. And I put about a cup of water into the Instant Pot. Now we're going to close it up. We're going to go over here to our control panel. Now, some of your Instant Pots may say manual, or in this case, steam. And I'm going to do the steam button. We're going to set the timer for 30 minutes. We are already at high pressure. We're going to turn off the keep warm button, and this should start cooking here. We'll build up the pressure. And once the pressure is started, hit the basic level, the timer will count down, and we'll go from there. I'll see you in 30 minutes. Alright, so we are done. It's cooked for 30 minutes now. Now we're going to do a quick release. I'm going to press the little black button, keep my hand away from that. I know I say that every time, but it's good advice every time. So, vent time. And when the little pink button drops, it's safe to open the lid. Once again, you always have a little bit of condensation that builds up on the underside, so kind of beware of that. Keep your camera away so it doesn't fog over. That applies only if you're using, if you're vlogging your cooking experience. Alright, let's pull this thing out and let's see if we ended up with better results this time. I don't know, I just don't seem to have very good luck with this recipe. I don't know what it is. This one is very liquidy on the top. You know, it doesn't even solidified yet. I think I'm going to see if I can try and save this by putting it in the oven a little bit, but I don't know. It might get to the point where I just have to say this isn't the recipe I'd recommend. But like I said, I'm going to try throwing it in the oven for a little bit, see if that helps. And no matter what, it isn't. I don't think it's a good recipe for the Instant Pot. Let's just go that far. Alright, so we left it in the oven for about 30 or 35 minutes at 350 degrees, and actually it's starting to look a little bit more like cornbread right now. I'm going to let it cool off a little bit, then we're going to take the side off of it, and let's see if we've actually redeemed this in some way. Alright, so we got this thing out of the snap pan. It came out pretty well. It smells pretty good. It caked up pretty well in the middle like it should. It's got a nice kind of golden brown color on the top. And I don't know, I think maybe I pulled this thing around. However, I can't really call it the world's greatest cornbread from the Instant Pot if I can't do it exclusively in the Instant Pot. It's possible that because I doubled the recipe, maybe I needed more time for it to cook. But, you know, I've already experimented with this one twice, and I'm not going to do a third video on something and trying to make it work. Like I said, I followed the recipe to the letter, with the exception of doubling the recipe, with the exception of using the right amount of using fresh baking soda, and I also covered it with aluminum foil, which I think is a crucial factor. And I did, like I said, make it acceptable. I cooked it for about 30 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees, and it did come out all right. So let's actually give this thing a taste test and tell for sure whether this is actually something I'm going to be able to eat, or if I'm going to throw this one away too. Now normally when you're having cornbread, you want to have it with some butter or honey butter or something like that. I'm going to try it just dry right now, just to get an idea what it tastes like without all of the enhancements. Yeah, I'll admit it's pretty good. Like I said, I would want to see it be completely done in the Instant Pot before I declare it the world's best Instant Pot cornbread. But, you know, like I said, I might just have to experiment with it a little bit. It did work, but I did have to put it in the oven for about 30 minutes. So, you know, maybe that's the way to do it initially, you know, without the Instant Pot. Use the recipe as is, but cook it in the oven instead. Instant Pot's great for a lot of things, but it might not necessarily work for everything. So anyway, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit.